Welcome to day 4 of the Write Your Book Now 5-day challenge. We are almost done. You should be so proud of yourself. The book that you are currently writing should be an active service to your reader. You probably have done this before, where you've done a book report, and maybe it's taking you forever to think of a title, or a through line, or the main idea, or the subpoints. Well, I'm going to share with you today hacks to seamlessly writing your book so that you never have that problem again. Now, these hacks will fall under 3 categories: the way that you plan, creating a map of where you want to take your reader, the accountability measures that you use. We talked about this in day 1, setting a word count goal and making time to hit your weekly writing benchmarks. And today I'm going to share with you some specific writing tools that I use to publish my very first book, such as concentric circles, mind maps, transcription, dictation, and plain old typing. Okay, so as I mentioned before in the beginning illustration about a book report, if you've done any use of graphic planners, then you would have had the option of going and getting a mind map paper, or maybe using circles where you had your main idea in the middle and then each of your other subsequent ideas was from there. What I like for you to do is, now that you've done homework from day 3 and you have most of your chapters complete, we want to now branch ideas, some sub ideas from each of those chapters. Those becomes headings within the chapters. What I like for you to do right now, right now, is to set a timer for about 15 minutes and just dump everything out. Don't edit yourself. Don't worry about if it's sideways or whatever. Just get it out really quickly. And then what you're going to do is you're going to go back to the pre-work that you've already done, identifying pain and pleasure island, identifying your avatar reader. You're going to go back with the red pen and you're going to cross out anything that is a detour from pain to pleasure island for your reader, like we talked about yesterday. So there's a 3-hour route to the solution, and then there's a 1-hour route to get there. And what we want is the 1-hour route. So you're going to cross out anything that detracts away from the main ideas that you came up with yesterday. Make sense? I'll give you time to do that now. Go ahead. Don't wait. Let's get it done. Okay, now that you've done, you see all the potential within this book. This should have given you hope and encouragement that you can do this. You have your chapters, you have your subheadings, and now you have all of this great content to put within your book. You've also done the first step of the editing process and gotten rid of anything that is not in alignment with where you want to take your reader. Now, these are some of the hacks that you can use to create more content for your book. If you have an iPhone, there is a notepad section on your iPhone. This is where you do dictation. Now, dictation is also known by some as talk to text. If you don't have an iPhone, there's an app called Dragon Dictation that does the same thing. And all this does is listen to your voice and types out everything. Now, the cool thing about Dragon Dictation is that it does allow for parentheses, exclamation marks, things of that nature. Now, what you don't want to do is what I've done in the past and talk and talk and talk for hours, talk to text, and then have to go back and edit and undo and change words and look at words and say, now, what in the world was I trying to say there? That could take you hours. So again, instead of the 3-hour route, I'm trying to give you the 1-hour solution. If you are looking to write it out by hand, maybe you're an individual who likes to write it out and just get it out on paper, you can use concentric circles. There's a website called MindMeister. Now, you can either do this on an iPad or you can do this by printing out the actual circles. But if you type in those subheadings as well as the chapter headings that we just went over into this app, it'll print out for you this beautiful looking diagram where you can just fill in the blanks as you go. If you're more of a computer or a technological individual, you can type right directly into that document and then save it and use it for later. Now, MindMeister, it is a paid subscription site, but you can do the first 3 to 4 mind maps absolutely free. Another place you can go to, say you have a YouTube video or an IG reel, or maybe you've done a podcast. You can take those videos, put the links into the website rev.com, and you can go ahead and have them transcribe those videos. Yes, you do not have to sit there and write it out. You do not have to go back and look for your speech or your notes. All you do is take the link and you put it in there. Now, this also is a paid service, but for the couple of dollars that they request for you to transcribe the video, it is well worth it. Other hacks that you can use to create content are Jasper.ai. That is one of the most expensive of the list. Otter.io, which has a free version, and Copy.io. Now, of all these, I've used Notepad, Otter.io, Copy.io. I've yet to use Rev.com or MindMeister, mainly because I like to talk it out. I'm a public speaker, I'm a comedian, I'm a teacher, I'm a coach, so I like to talk. And so I just talk out my book, and so far, so good. Now, you can use whatever makes you feel comfortable. Whiteboard, legal pad, whatever you do, again, make sure that you're sticking to the 30-minute writing every single day. The last thing you want to do is to allow the weekend to come and you haven't written anything. And now you're trying to cram 2.5 hours of writing between Saturday or Sunday. Don't do it to yourself. Just stick to the game plan. So the cool thing about dictation that I like is that you can end up with 3,000 words, again, sometimes without punctuation unless you use a software. But if you break it down into those subcategories that we already came up with, you can do riffs off of those subcategories. So for those 15 minutes, you could have very well just taken the topic and just spoken about it for 15 minutes. Would have been almost the same thing, but now instead of having all these different words and ideas, you just have the one singular focus. Transcription is basically what rev.com does. And the cool thing is that you can get this the same day. So those 15 minutes that I asked you to go ahead and write down all the words you could for one of those subcategories, the same 15 minutes, rev.com is able to take your YouTube video and turn it into a transcription. Now, here's the way to get around this. Maybe you've been on someone else's podcast or someone else's YouTube video, and you don't have the link to use for rev.com. Maybe it's an IG reel, or maybe you've done a TikTok and you've said some really amazing things. Have no fear, Google Docs is here. If you have Google Doc app on your phone, all you need to do is push the microphone button. And by doing so, you can play the video simultaneously as you push the button, and it will write down all the words. Now, again, it will not have the punctuations needed, but you will be able to have it without worrying about getting permission or the actual link for that frame of work. If you do your due diligence to create a framework to put this all together, to repurpose content that you've used that actually makes sense, again, in the subcategories that we've created after we've done the chapters to get our reader from Pain Island to Pleasure Island, you should have no problem getting the necessary content you need for your entire book. That is what I call giving you the easy button. An image is worth 1,000 words, and a long form YouTube video is worth almost 10,000. So find those videos and get to transcribing. Here are the 4 milestones that we've gone over so far. Now, there are 8 milestones in total. Each of these is basically the easy button. Now, we've only been on this challenge for 4 days, and already you've thought of the reader that you want to market to, the way that you want to serve this reader. You've thought of the pain to pleasure island that you're going to take this reader on in terms of their journey. You've thought of chapters. You've gotten your subcategories for these chapters. You have your framework. You have your hacks to get more content. So defining your motivation and getting that why so that you don't get stuck in a year from now, you're still unfinished with writing this book. That is the first milestone. Identifying your reader. That is our second milestone. Creating your reader's journey was your third milestone. And the shortcuts and hacks that I just shared with you are your fourth. Tomorrow for day 5, we'll speak live. Yes, tomorrow's session is a live session. It will not be pre-recorded. It will be live. Please look in your email for the link for the 7 o'clock live Q&A session for day 5 of our 5-day Write Your Book Now challenge. So your homework for tonight, as always, what are the subtopics or chapters for your book? How will you map out getting your reader from Pain Island to Pleasure Island? What is your accountability plan? Have you already dedicated those 30 minutes either in the middle of the day on your lunch break, the beginning of the day, right after your quiet time, or at the end of the day as part of reflection? Some other questions you need to think about moving forward. How often will you work on your book? Will this be 5 days a week with taking breaks on the weekend? Or are you going to go 7 days straight and make sure that you're a published author by the end of this year? Well, folks, I'm so excited to see you all tomorrow for day 5 of the Write Your Book Now challenge. Until then, see you.